3, 2, 1.
Here we go! Welcome to Mad Gaines Live. I am your host, Cassandra Gaines. I'm so excited to have you guys here today. I'm going to introduce you to a new carrier who is very interesting, based out of Idaho or Iowa or Idaho. I'm going to just put them together. I always get it confused anyhow. And I think you guys hold on before you're like, I don't care about a carrier, Cassandra, this week. My mama got COVID and I couldn't book my loads to snow capacity and it was snowing and I got stuck in Virginia and had a $600 Uber ride. I mean, it's been a wild week, but I think you should take it easy. You should get a drink. Here, hold on. Today I had a very stressful week as well. Not like y'all, but I had a stressful week. So today we're drinking wine. We're not going to do beer. We're going to do a nice glass of red wine while we talk to our new guest, Greg Paulson. So Greg, let's bring Greg in. Thank you to Freightwaves. Y'all should be watching this on Freightwaves TV by now and grabbing a drink. Hi, Greg. Welcome to Mad Gaines.
Hi, Sandra. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. I blanked on the beginning of this when I was doing the introduction. You probably heard it. And I was like, Idaho. I get it all confused. Does that happen? Am I just
It happens all the time. In Idaho, we have T-shirts that have our logo and say Iowa, on them because it's pretty common.
Okay, I've heard of those T-shirts, so I purposely gave an image to Freightwaves so they could pop it up, and you can see this T-shirt, because I think that anybody who wears this T-shirt, and for those of you who are just listening, it's a T-shirt with the state of Idaho, I think, and it says in it, Iowa. And like whoever wears this T-shirt is a real asshole, because people like me would be like, Iowa, and not even notice. And inherently they're just making fun of us because I get so confused. I was text messaging one of my favorite people in the industry. His name is Kevin Nolan. Everybody knows him. He's everywhere. He's in everything. He lives the life that all of us probably want to live. But I was texting him. I'm like, hey, I just got off of a prep call with like this really great CEO in this trucking company. And then I got confused, Iowa and Idaho. And within seconds, he sent me a voice text. And I promise you, I didn't get a heads up on this. He just sent it to me. And I got it, and let's see if Freightwaves can play it. It's his message to us.
Idaho, where every day we drive in the snow. We got blue football fields, and we put them potatoes in them Happy Meals.
Very nice.
He does it all the time. He just thinks of things. We put the potatoes in the Happy Meals. So anyhow, welcome, Greg. I'm so excited to have you. All right, tell us, first of all, before we dive into your history, into the company, I still want to talk about Idaho, whatever. Why is everybody moving there? It's like the most popular state to be in right now, right? Or one of them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Idaho is great. I do a lot of outdoor stuff, and we've got mountains. We got a beautiful river that goes through it. We got some waterfalls. It's very good for business. I don't know. It's a great place to live. I think people are coming a little bit too fast, but it's just wonderful. And we've got.
You're like, go home. People.
So yeah, 2/3 of our state is public land, and we've just got really done well with how we use that.
We have Matt Fink in the house. We have Tim Poole. We have Jonathan Trimble who's joined us. Welcome, guys. We're excited to have you. Are there any preppers? Is it like a big prepper community? I read like this article that people were ready for the government to fail.
There may be, there's some preppers and there, people are pretty pro-gun rights and stuff like that. So we're pretty down to earth and pretty open-minded on those kind of things.
Greg, are you a prepper?
No, not too bad. I have, a minimal prepper, no more than anybody else. So nothing too exciting.
Okay, wait. Describe to us what minimum would be, though.
I think.
Come on, Greg. Just tell
No,
us.
I think we've got a little bit of food set aside. Not too exciting though, probably a month worth. And then we've got a handful of firearms, mostly just for the fun of it.
All right, so I think that is probably pretty normal. Okay, when I'm done with all this, like my legal world and everything else, I am going to be a prepper. I want you to know that. I'm going to have, I don't know if I'm going to have guns because I don't think anybody wants me to have a gun, but I'm going to have a lot of wine, a cheese. I don't know. I don't know what else is going to be. It's going to be like a bunker. And Greg, when apocalypse comes, I'm going to message you and I'm going to be like, hey, the bunker's open. And I'll save people's lives. Andrew Teal's in the house. I'm so excited to have Andrew Teal here. He said, I'm a prepper. If society collapsed right now, I could last until the end of the show. Beef jerky, Steve Chris says. Yes, beef jerky. That's a really good one. But see, the thing about Andrew Teal is he lives in Green Bay, but he knows how to do all that stuff. He can hunt. He can like cook the meat. He can fish. I can't do any of that. Can you do any of that, Greg?
Very little.
Yeah. All right. You're an accountant, though. So tell us, how do you go from being an accountant and being in this, like, I'm imagining you in this professional world and you're suited up and you're counting the numbers and you're doing your finances and having like these really great conversations about money. And now you're in the trucking industry and you are probably having some pretty wild conversations and probably still have a good professional environment. I'm not going to say Giltner is not professional, but it's the trucking industry. Let's be real here. So give us some insight into your history.
Yeah, trucking industry is a great place for business people and people that just love business. It's there's so much that you can just lose yourself in as far as being an accountant. As far as how I got started, I was a CPA in public practice, and I just happened to meet Doug Blevins, who was the owner of Giltner. He was a client of our firm, and I was spending so much time with him. And I was young; I was in my 20s. And one day he just said, Greg, I'm paying a whole lot of money to Cooper Norman to have you out here all the time. And it's not all going to you, is it? And we kind of put our heads together and we were together for 17 years after that. And we got along really well and built a pretty good business.
So was it a gradual transition, or one day were you sitting in sales meetings and a salesperson was like, dude, Greg, you don't know crap what you're talking about. You've never talked to a truck driver. You haven't booked a load. Go away.
No,
That's what they say to lawyers. I just want you to know that.
It happened pretty naturally. The trucking came pretty natural to me, and the family we had at Giltner at that time was pretty special, and they took me. And I remember, like, right out of the gates, one of my first weeks there, our safety director, Dusty Addy, had to put new stickers and license plates on all the trailers. And I just naturally went with him and spent a good day doing that. And from there, we just kind of bonded. And the group brought me in, and I learned a lot about trucking. It was a lot of fun.
I could see you doing that. I could see you, you just come across that way. Even when we talked the other day, it's like, whatever you got to learn and whatever you got to do. I could see you totally being like, okay, fine. Fuck it. I'll do a podcast. I'll do stickers and license plates. I'll drive a day cab, whatever. I could see you like being like curious to learn it. So it makes sense to me. You got a lot of Giltner people in this crowd. I see them popping up, which is important. That means that you probably have a powerful leadership because it's interesting when I have executives on my show who shows up to support their executive and who doesn't. And I always find that dynamic so interesting. You got a lot of people here supporting you. Andrew Teal says the greatest thing about trucking is you can touch every industry you want to, whereas other industries can be sort of siloed. You have to sphere it. That's all. Okay. So I promise you, I didn't tell Andrew about our conversation yesterday. Andrew is one of my popular commenters. He refuses to come on and co-host a show with me, so I force him through comments to do it. But you and I talked about siloed yesterday.
Right.
And as a lawyer, I've seen it, right? When I worked in house counsel for transportation and logistics companies, I've seen it where the trucking people who've been in trucking their whole life are over here, and the safety people are over here. And then you've got your logistics people over here. and like they're very, very siloed. Nobody really understands their world, and they don't cross over too much. I'm not saying every company's like this, but I've seen it frequently. We talked about siloed the other day. Could you elaborate on that and how you kind of break down those boundaries as a leader?
With us, we have about 7 different companies, and we've got trucking, and we've got our heavy haul operation, we've got our logistics, factoring, and some custom stuff. And the silos they start off kind of nice because you can take one person and put them over a business unit, and they kind of get ownership over that. And so they do a great job, and they're very proud of it, and all that stuff. But then the silo can be bad because now you want them to work together to accomplish something bigger. And that can be challenging. And luckily, it just takes time. I think if you push people together, and like I'll do things for a certain reason, it'll look like, hey, let's go to lunch and we're going to talk about this. But really, my whole purpose is just I got to get these people together because I know that if they spend some time together, they're going to love each other.
And like I love how that happens, because I do think from a leadership perspective, those leaders who are continuously trying to push the groups together, it really doesn't take much to get them to start being together. But when you have leaders that are as siloed, the silos continue, I think. And anybody else disagrees, they can pop it into the comments wherever you're watching it. Let's see, we have Scott Thompson. And he said, Greg is the ultimate serial entrepreneur. Ask him about his companies. Okay, I want to hear this. I had this on my list, Scott, so I'm so glad you brought this up. So let's talk about this. Where do you want to begin with this? Because I think that this makes you and Giltner very interesting.
Well, I really enjoy learning. And I've got a wonderful team that's been there with me, and we just come up with ideas, and they really take it, and I just go along with it. But, we've got our trucking companies where we started. From there, we started the brokerage. There was I had Michelle Boffman with me in payables, and then we got Rob Stevens from Chattanooga, who came out and taught us about brokerage. We got pretty good at brokerage. We've got 8 people that are CTBs in our organization. From there, we started a factoring company, an insurance agent, a customs brokerage, warehousing, and now we have an agriculture company buying and selling hay. A lot of it it's just fun. You get to meet cool people and do cool stuff.
All right, let's go back to, first of all, wait, let's see what Andrew says. He says, I think a lot of times people need to say why it's a good idea to get to know the other silos. Ooh, that's a good point. Why is it good to have a network within the company, safety, legal, HR, drivers, driver leaders? That's a really good point. Is, when you put them together, why should they know each other? Why do you care about legal? Why do you care about legal? Okay, so to go back to the serial entrepreneurship, first question I have for you is, how do you, as a leader, not get distracted by something shiny over here that you're like really excited, like, that's a great idea, let's do it, let's go, final mile, do it, put it together. And then you spread everybody too thin and everybody's running in different directions. Like, how do you stay focused? Because the reason I ask that is because a lot of entrepreneurs have that. Like, they're like, oh, go, final mile, do it.
Right. It makes a lot of sense. And you absolutely can spread yourself too thin, and there's a real risk in that. If you look at our companies, we work in an industry where if you're not careful, you become a commodity. Everybody is really competing against each other to do about the same thing. And so one of the things, most of our companies, they all kind of lend a little bit of an advantage to the other companies. By having a brokerage and a trucking company, there's certain needs for a customer we can accomplish that if you just have one or the other, you may not be able to do that. Although there's a lot of people that are fantastic at just having one and servicing their customers well. But like if you add LTL, intermodal, it's just, I think if you do it right and you can be aware of the chance for, I think they call it diversification instead of diversification. But if you can avoid that, then I think you're in good shape. And we've done that by having leaders over each individual piece of the business and not having one leader over 2 or 3 parts.
So on that note, because that makes sense to me, and I think of all the synergies that you're describing within your entity. Oh wait, before I ask my question, I hope I don't forget it because it's a good one. Andrew says, I care about legal because Cassandra handles my parking tickets for me. He doesn't get parking tickets. He drives a snowmobile most of the year. I swear. John, hi, John. I'm so glad you're here. Radvansky. I always mess up his last name. Breaking down silos leads to increased understanding and productivity. I didn't know when I did this that it was negatively affecting you. Ooh, good point, John. Oh my God, they're having a good conversation going on right now. Question. We were talking about how you don't get distracted. Entrepreneurs often get distracted by this great idea in the moment. And it just naturally happens. And there's always podcasts teaching you how to stay focused, how to move the ball forward. So then on that note of what you said with synergies, how did you get into buying and selling hay?
So the hay business is one of our most recent businesses. And I had my banker came to me, and there was a guy that had been buying and selling hay for years. And he said, hey, this guy is struggling and he could really use some of your help. And with our infrastructure and our accounting and financial wherewithal, we could add some organization and some structure to that guy's business. So we rolled together, and the guy was great, worked his butt off, went 100 miles an hour, and we really enjoyed working with him. But after about a year of that business, we learned the problem in his business, and that was that when you buy and sell hay, you have to sell it for more than you paid for it. And it took us about a year to figure that out. He just got so excited whenever he could buy it that he just couldn't say no to anything. And so we've evolved that business over the years, and we've got it. He is, we're still friends and stuff, but he's not part of the organization anymore. And we've got some other guys that are doing a great job for us. And most of the time now, we actually have it sold at the same time as we buy it. And it's a little bit smaller, but it's a lot more profitable.
Do you stay friends with a lot of people? I feel like you have a lot of friends.
Well, I'm very fortunate in that respect. We've got some wonderful people that I've been able to work with.
Yeah, you said I stay friends with him, and I'm like, oh my God, he stays friends. It's like what I don't do. Jay-Z's in the house from Ascent. I'm trying to convince Jay-Z to go to the lean staffing group. I always, I call it lean staffing. They're having a big event in Las Vegas. I'm trying to get Jason to go with me. Andrew Teal, I know, is not going to go to Las Vegas. I just know it. He's busy killing innocent animals from his cabin. And Ron Kane is in the house, and there's no way I can get Ron to join unless I get him drunk. Matt Fink is in the house. I also love Matt Fink. I should get everybody together and we should do a show. So question for you. Do you actually move the hay, like physically, or this is more trading?
No, we go out to the farmer when it's being baled. We test it. We check there's a lot to it. We got to check the moisture content in the hay. We got to get it tested for the proteins and everything. And then we buy it. We tarp it and protect it so the rain doesn't get all over it. And then sometimes we move it to our yard, and then we sell it and move it later. And then sometimes we sell it directly. So there's a lot to it. But I think it's an expertise. Like if you can be a great freight broker, you can honestly buy and sell anything. That's what you do. That's your specialty.
Oh, that's a good point. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you can do anything. We've looked at other businesses of buying and selling, and the hay is the only one we've done so far. But that specialty, now you get into the details of, and if you're not careful, you'll have extra costs in there that you didn't think you were going to have, and you get in a lot of trouble with the hay. Tarping and baling and all that stuff gets really expensive. But ultimately, it's just buying and selling, and then just a little bit more accounting to make sure you don't lose money.
That makes sense to me because I've been stuck behind a hay truck before, and the fucking hay was like coming at the vehicle the whole time, and I'm like, back off, I got back off, because it wasn't, probably they didn't tarp it right. It looks complex to tarp, by the way, but I never thought about like making sure that it's, you. Oh my God, it sounds way more complex than I imagined. What other weird stuff do you guys haul? I heard you say heavy haul earlier.
Right. Yeah, we've got a really cool heavy haul operation out of Cartersville, Georgia, and that's ran by Jacob Christiani out there. He's really super hard worker. He's got about 8 trucks, and he was going to town lately with the tornadoes in Kentucky and stuff. He hates all the big equipment that you need to go fix all those power lines. He and his crew really get after it, and they're pretty good at that. So we're real proud of those guys.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is so amazing. And okay, so now we'll veer into. Oh wait, I wanted to see what Ron Kane. I'm missing out of the conversations. I got sucked in with the hay situation and hurricanes. And okay, transportation may be a service, but it's amazing how many carriers Ron says that treat it like a commodity and that they think that it's needed and don't focus on service. Holy crap! That's a really, really good point. I think that we see that a lot with. Well, actually, I'm going to ask you what your thoughts are on that.
He's 100% right. If you're not careful, because it's a fragmented industry and stuff like that, if you're not careful, you do become a commodity. And then it's all about who can do the stuff the cheapest. And it's hard to compete with some of the big guys on how low they go. With our trucking company in the early days, we really had some problems, and we finally got away from being a commodity, and we got into the fresh produce market coming out of California.
Ooh.
We found some customers that fresh produce is tough. You've got a short time to get there, and you've got it within a 3-degree temperature range. We like to, if you want to be a commodity, what we respectfully tell our customers is when we're talking price, we'll say, oh, that was the price for soggy brown lettuce. We were giving you the price for crisp green lettuce.
I absolutely love that. And oh my God, okay, hopefully, I want marketing to make a clip of that. That's really, really good, because I say that all the time to some of my customers. There are a couple water bottle companies, and they just make the broker or the carrier just pay for those water bottles. If they're even delivered 3 hours late, you got to pay. And I'm like, fine. If you want cheap carriers, right, you're going to have to get cheap service. Those water bottles probably are going to show up all messed up. But I love that you brought that up. I think that, hold on, let me just double check. Okay. I purposely saw Scott's comment come back up, so I wanted to see what he said. Andrew, stop deleting your messages. Damn you. Okay. Let's see. Oh, to go back to Andrew, he said, Ron Kane is right. It's a service, but when demand is high, it's higher than supply. Carriers definitely treat pricing like a commodity, which is true. So do you guys, it sounds like you guys don't, but do you guys just haul anything you call we haul kind of thing? Or you have a way of vetting your customers or selecting the right business for the right model?
So with our fleet and our trucks, we've got a large percentage of our business goes to our key customers. And so it's probably like 50% of our business or more goes to about 5 different shippers, people that we've really gotten to know well and built relationships with. We've gone through periods when demand was high and demand was low, and we try to work through those together. So we're not there's very little brokerage freight in with our assets.
Okay, makes sense. And Ron said that, where to go? Fast quality or cheap. You can only have 2 of the 3. Yeah, you like that, don't you? I told you, Ron. I told you and Andrew and Jay-Z, you guys would love him. And I'm guaranteeing you, Matt Fink says, with a variety of business interests, how do you determine which needs the most of your time? Oh, I love this question, Matt, and attention. It is based on current problems or longer term vision for what it could be. How do you decide?
Yeah, it's usually pretty obvious. You're in love with all of them, and they go through different cycles where, this is the priority for the year, or the priority for the next couple of months is we're really going to get this into shape. And our business has gone through, like, for years, I was in right next to the trucks. And then when we started our brokerage, had the luck of being able to, and the luxury of being able to spend time, with Michelle and that team. When we started the factoring, I was actually in real close to where the factoring was at, and we worked through problems and developed it. But my people have gotten really good to where they don't need me. And then they just kind of, they do their own thing, and then I just kind of help and I'm more, of a coach at that
I
point.
love
But
that.
that's just
I
kind
think
of how it
that
works.
exemplifies the best type of leaders is those who work themselves out of a job.
Right.
Because you're training your people and you've got a strong bench and they don't even need you at times. Those are the best. So, okay, John, I love that he says this. John Radvansky says, damn, John, I gotta get that fast. Fast and cheap will give you soggy brown lettuce. I'm gonna title this. So funny. And then, wait, how much time do we have? Because Scott said something that I want to go back to, but I do want to hear what Andrew said. Because it does sound like you're not afraid of difficult freight. Like you guys are okay with difficult freight.
I love difficult because not everybody can do it.
Right, like produce and hay and tornadoes or hurricanes or whatever. Like that's difficult stuff. It's not just boring ass dry van, whatever. Which is nothing wrong with that. It's great ROI. But Andrew said, "Have you ever walked away from a business or a business idea, and what was the tipping point?" Damn, these questions are good. You guys are on fire. I don't know why I'm here.
Yeah, I'm pretty stubborn, but we've walked away from business.
Hey, if you're a full truckload freight broker, this video is for you. I'm Sean from Ty Software, and I want to show you how our customers have reduced the amount of time it takes to find load coverage by up to 70%.